Anyway, yeah, I really want to get back to this, so I'm just gonna stop rambling and just dive back into it. Who gives a shit about what's going on in life? We gotta check in on Rika. After hanging up on Shion, I searched for Rika-chan's phone number on my school's contact list. Ah, yes. The 80s, back in the day before we had cell phones and could just ring people up whenever because we have their phone numbers and a contact list on our phone. And, like, remember contact lists and address books? Or am I just calling myself out? I know my mom, at the very least, had an address book with everybody's addresses and phone numbers in it. God. And now it's all just on our phone. And these powerful little computers in our pockets. It's crazy. Anyway, search for Rika-chan's phone number. And also, you don't have, like, you're friends with her. You would think he would have it jotted down somewhere, but I guess he never really had a need to call her. Anyway, search for Rika-chan's phone number on my school's contact list. There it is. My fingers trebled. Trebled? My fingers... Wow. Real quick, let me try taking a sip of a drink to see if I'm just dealing with a dry throat, because it is a little dry right now. While I'm at it, hydration check, everybody. No, even better. Sure, the soda feels nice. Something about zero sugar, Dr. Pepper, just so smooth. But, hydration. So water. There we go. Okay, it is a bit of a louder bottle, so I might stick with the cans instead for now. Also, save your work. If you're working on something. There's your reminder. My fingers trembled with urgency, and I failed multiple times to put in the simple 5-digit... No, 5 digits? Damn. Keiji? Are you calling someone at this hour? It's late, and it's being rude to the other person. That doesn't matter right now. I shouted angrily at my mother, listening to the dial tone. Pick up. Come on, pick up. I mean, you probably startled your mom, but in your defense, how would you even explain to your mom, I need to call my friend to make sure she's not fucking dead? It's kind of a hard thing to explain. Anyway. The time was 11 p.m. It certainly wasn't early. It was essentially the middle of the night. And also, if you have to get up at 6 in the morning for school... Is it a school night? I forget what day of the week it is, but if it's a school night, then Rika might be in bed. Anyway. Had Rika-chan already gone to bed? If she wants her 8 hours, then yes. Her phone would be ringing constantly, though, so... Would she get back up for me? Oh yeah, was this also the day before voicemail? I would look up when voicemail was a thing, but the ringtone is getting on my nerves now. Rika-chan didn't pick up. She didn't pick up. She didn't pick up. Maybe she just happened to miss it. Maybe her bed was just too far away from the phone. The sound of a phone ringing gets clearer and clearer the longer you go on sleeping. Then, or maybe she sleeps like a log. Then, the bathroom? Yeah, she must be taking a bath. If that was the case, then even if she heard the phone, she wouldn't be able to pick up. It was a little late to be taking a bath. I don't know, man. I've had showers at 4 in the morning. You fine. But it was possible. She normally took baths right before going to bed. Yeah, I do that. I'll wait 30 minutes, then try calling again. I don't know, man. Saying, I'll wait. Even as I was thinking that, I called her house over and over again. Bro, just run. At that point, I would say just run. Even as I was thinking that, I called her house over and over again. I kept calling. Over and over, again and again. I kept on calling her, but She didn't pick up even once. I think I kept trying for about 30 minutes. Yet she wasn't picking up. Were my phone calls so persistent that she had gotten scared of picking up the receiver? No, that couldn't possibly be it. I mean, maybe, but if you wanted to find some logic, but I'm still going with best case scenario, she's just a super heavy sleeper. There was no point in doing this any longer. The best thing to do would be to go there in person. Exactly, and yet you spent 30 minutes waiting for her to pick up the phone. I would have given up after 10. Where was Rika-chan's house, though? Shit, I've never even asked her where she lived. Her residence was written there in the contact list, but it was an address with mostly numbers, so I couldn't tell where it was just by reading it. Is it, like, coordinates? Isn't there a map or something in here? Rika Furude. Her last name was Furude. It was a bit of an odd last name, so it might be easy to find. Thinking that, I rummaged around the drawer with the phone book, but could only find things like takeout menus and phone numbers for public establishments. Another thing that is now built into our phones. Maps. Shit. I tore one thing after another out of the drawer, but I didn't come up with any clues as to where Rika-chan's house was. Calm down, Keiji Maibara. If you don't know, then just ask. Ask someone who does know. That's it. Rena's gotta know. I looked up Rena's phone number on the contact. You don't even have Rena's number? Bro. Rena Ryugu. There she was. Hello? This is Ryugu. Sorry. This is Ryugu. It was the voice of a grumpy-sounding man. It must have been Rena's father. I am calling in the middle of the night. I need to be... Yeah, it's about 11:30 now. Like, it's hella late, bruh. I need to be polite. I'm sorry for calling so late at night. This is Maibara. Is there any chance Rena-san is around? Reina's taking a bath. See? Late night baths are a thing. Oh, she's done? Reina, there's a friend of yours on the phone. Oh, right. Reina Ryugu was her real name, wasn't it? I've gotten so used to calling her Rena that hearing her real name caught me a little off guard. But that was a point in last chapter. We're not gonna worry about it now. Hello? This is Rena. It's me, Keiichi. Sorry for calling so late. Huh? Keiichi-kun? What do you need at a time like this? Like this? Well, actually, I wanted to know where Rika-chan's house is. Rena seemed a little appalled that I'd call her for something like that at this hour. However, she spoke her next words seriously, as if she'd caught on to how urgent my need was. Thank you, Rena. Okay. Sure. You know the assembly hall on the grounds on the Furude Shrine? There's a 2-story shack used for storage behind it. That's where she lives. She lives in the storage shed? I couldn't immediately visualize the place, but as long as I knew she lived on the shrine grounds, I'd just have to take a look around. Got it. Thanks. Sorry again for calling so late. Apologize to your dad for me too, would you? Okay, but Keiichi-kun, why do you want to know where Rika-chan lives? Rena asked in an unusually sharp way, halting me before I could hang up the phone. I hesitated for a moment about whether to tell her. He was killed because I told him. Yeah, that's what Shion said, and that's what's causing us to panic. Goddamn chair arm. Hold on. There, it shouldn't click anymore. Because I'm leaning into it. Anyway. Keiichi-kun, if you're still listening, could you answer me? Why are you asking where Rika-chan lives at a time like this? Rena affected her usual tone, but beneath her words lay a certain tension, like she'd intuitively sensed something was going on. Well, yeah, why would you call to see where Rika, a small child, lives at 11:30 at night, bro. It's a little sus. Like, to ask at that point, it's a little sus, yes. What will you do, Keiichi? If it's Rena, can't I tell her? He was killed because he found out. I revealed everything, so he was killed. Keiichi-kun? Rena is being serious. Please, answer me! Rena asked me once again in a tone so forceful I couldn't imagine her ever using it normally. I was taken aback by her vigor. Rena was Rika-chan's friend too. She had the right to be concerned about Rika-chan disappearing. If I told Rena, then, even if only for a moment, I could drive away my horrifying fears. Rena, well, I can't exactly tell you why, but... Yes? Rena's tone was seriousness itself. Just from that tone, I could feel her saying, no matter what you say, Keiichi-kun, I'll believe you. That subtle sense of security gave me the courage to reveal the truth. I have a feeling that Rika-chan is in danger. You mean, like, a premonition? Or do you have some reason to believe she's in danger? I really didn't have time to go back and forth with Rena about this. Still, I think listening to her calm voice soothed my pointless impatience. It's not pointless! It's not pointless! Rika could be in the middle of disappearing right now, bruh! I don't have much reason, but yet I still hesitated. I had told Rika-chan that we had snuck into the ritual storehouse. The mayor, to whom Shion had confessed before that, had already disappeared. So, it was possible that Rika-chan also... I didn't know how to explain it to Rena. While I was tongue-tied, Rena spoke up. Sorry for asking something so weird. I thought about it, and it isn't like you need to be sure. Rena laughed a little, seeming a bit absent-minded. I wasn't exactly in the mood to laugh, so this time I was dumbfounded. Yeah, I'm like... I mean, maybe she's a nervous laugher. Anyway, Rena continued in a cheerful, yet still purposeful voice. You're worried about a friend. I don't think you need a reason to go and check on them. Even if Rika-chan was asleep and you ended up waking her up, if that was why you did it, then none of us would get mad. Sorry. The break-in line made me think... Sorry. Even if Rika-chan was asleep and you ended up waking her up, if that was why you did it, then none of us would get mad. Rena, thank you. Okay then, Keiichi-kun, just one thing. You called Rika-chan's house, right? Then you just couldn't get through, so that's why you asked me where her house is? Yeah, that's right. I must have called her for over 10 minutes. It was half an hour. She could just be sleeping and not have noticed. Rika-chan's house is really small. She would definitely hear the phone ringing even if she was asleep. Satoko-chan is there too, so... Oh no. Not even Satoko answered. Oh god. Oh god. Satoko-chan is there too, so there's no way neither of them would notice. Huh? Satoko, you mean she's living with Rika-chan? I feel like this might have been established in the last chapter, but it was glossed over pretty quickly. Or maybe it was explained as, like, when we would part ways after school, like, they lived in the same direction or something. Point is, I feel like it was established, but I could be mistaken. Anyway, maybe not in this chapter. Yeah. You didn't know? Well, we can talk about that later. Anyway, if you called that much and no one answered, then something's definitely wrong. Rena understood that the situation wasn't normal far faster than I could have ever imagined her to. It's because she knows her friends, bro. It made her seem dependable. However, the fact that Rena had acknowledged this also meant that the best case possibility of it all just being the result of my own needless fears went out the window. I'll go to Rika-chan's house right now. Will you come with me? I can show you the way. Sorry. I can show you the way? Like, or would this be Rena saying it? I'll go to... Either way, someone says I can show... it must be Rika, Rena, because I can show you the way. Keiichi doesn't know the way exactly, so... I'll go to Rika-chan's house right now. Will you come with me? I can show you the way. Sounds good. Let's meet up at the same place as usual. I'll be waiting for you. I don't know who's saying what anymore. Anyway. No, wait. I'll come get you at your house. You just wait there, and tell your family you're coming with me to Rika-chan's house, okay? Will that be okay? We might lose time if you come here. Okay, this one is Rena. If that's the case, let me check the back and forth. You might lose time if you come here. Okay. Okay, so Keiichi, Rena, Keiichi, Rena. Yeah, okay, so she said, I can show you the way. Keiichi said, sounds good. And that they'd meet up at the usual. Rena said, nope, she's coming over here. And tell your family that you're going together to Rika's. And then, will that be okay? We might lose time if you come here, too. Did you call Michan, too? She's really dependable at times like these. If you haven't, then I'll give her a call. My thoughts froze for a moment. Shion had just told me to be careful around Mion during our phone conversation a little while ago. I was gonna say, she may be dependable, but in that case, get your dad to call Mion for you or something? Cause, girl, we don't got time to get the whole cavalry together. We gotta go. But also, I forgot about that part. If the Sonozaki main house was somehow lurking behind the surface of the annual freak deaths, then the current heir to the family, Mion, wouldn't be uninvolved. So wouldn't that mean she wasn't uninvolved? Double negatives. Wouldn't that mean she wasn't uninvolved in what happened this year to Takano-san and Tomitake-san, and also the mayor's disappearance? Okay, bye. Okay, bye. I'll be right over. Wait for me. That's all Rena said before hurriedly hanging up. Now wasn't the time to be doubting Mion. I needed to make sure Rika-chan was safe. Also, because, you know, family can hide shit behind your back, bro. She may not fucking know what they do. I mean, if she's gonna be the next family head, there's a chance. There's the high probability she knows what they do, but we can't just assume that she know. Sometimes, in stories like these, the higher-ups hide something from their, you know, kids or something to, you know, try to maintain their innocence up until it's time. I don't know. Point it. I'm trying. Anyway. I'm just trying to find the best case scenario. Anyway. Needed to make sure Rika is safe. I got changed and grabbed the key to my bike. I figured things would go more smoothly if we met up in the place we usually do before school. Rena wouldn't need to come all the way to my house. My parents would probably have objected if I told them I was leaving, so I creeped out without a word. Bro, when there's danger involved, like, I understand. But just say, one of my friends might be in danger, I have to go. That's and don't give them a chance. The night was unusually warm and disagreeably humid. She said that Rika-chan and Satoko live together, right? Then... It took you this long to put that together! I'm sorry, Wello. I'm sorry for yelling. Sometimes, I swear to God, listen, I know what your brain trying to, listen, bro, I know what your brain's just trying to protect you from trauma, but at the same time, that is a super important thing to be, to notice if nobody picked it up when I put that together, like, immediately, my guy, and I can't say just as worried because you're also fearing for your life, but I am also heavily worried. It's super fucking worried about Rika. And then when I heard that they lived together, I was like, oh, that means Satoko didn't pick up either. Rena, too many R's. Rena even said it's weird that neither of them picked up. And you're now putting it to get Keiichi, for the love of God! I get it, but bro. And it wasn't only Rika-chan. Satoko wasn't there either? Realizing what them living together really meant caused my thoughts to immediately take a turn for the worse. Which mine did the second I heard. Your brain likes to protect you a little too much at times, Keiichi. I swear to God. That can't be. Satoko is... She's got nothing to do with any of this. Even if there were a reason for Rika-chan to disappear, there shouldn't be one for Satoko. Keiichi-kun? Rena was really fast. She approached me on her bike at an amazing speed. Well, probably because friends are in danger. Potentially. Her breath was ragged, painting a clear picture of just how hurriedly she'd been going. You're gonna need another bath, girl. Gotta work up a sweat with how fast we gonna go. Hey, Rena. Let's get going. Keiichi-kun. I thought I told you to wait at your house. I need to get back in my Rena voice, I swear to God. Rena's expression was all business. Was she mad? It came out of the blue and I faltered for a moment. Well, I just figured it would be faster to meet up here. Keiichi-kun, don't you get it? Rena shouted, clearly angry. I'd never seen Rena like this before. Because this is a different timeline from Chapter 1, apparently. Do I get it? What's the problem? Rena seemed to notice she was scaring me, took a couple of deep breaths, then continued, as if admonishing me, but her expression didn't soften at all. Keiichi-kun, it softened in the visuals. Keiichi-kun, the whole village is in an uproar right now that the elder disappeared, right? Yeah. Now you're telling me that Rika-chan and Satoko-chan aren't where they're supposed to be, right? Yeah. That about sums it up. Then you need to be more careful. Do you have any idea how dangerous it is to be standing out here alone in the middle of the night? I began to understand where Rena's anger was coming from. You told your family you'd be going to Rika-chan's house with me, didn't you? So that in the worst case scenario... Exactly! If you and I were to disappear, people would know when and where we did. Did you at least tell your family? Because Keiichi keeps fucking up. Rena was perfectly level-headed in this emergency situation. Ever since the night of Watanagashi, every night someone had died or disappeared. On the night itself, Takano-san and Tomitake-san met strange ends. And the next night, the elder vanished. Right, it's awesome less dense than Keiichi Maibara, right? Now on the next night after that, Rika-chan and Satoko were nowhere to be found. I hadn't been thinking of anyone but myself and Rika, but It wasn't enough to say that Hinamizawa was a little weird at the moment. It was, in fact, extremely strange. Rena had even anticipated our own disappearances and had told me to tell my family where I was going. I was embarrassed at my own carelessness, and the need to be embarrassed made me afraid of the night. Sorry, I didn't tell them yet. Okay, then let's go tell them together. Rena, I'm sorry. Listen, I understand the importance, but at this point, right now, okay, this one I would fight you on only because we gotta hurry and case. We cannot be. He wasted half an hour trying to call and no one picked up. We gotta go. With Rena beside me, I wheeled back towards my house. Here's hoping it's a fast detour. The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. A sky that was uselessly vast and cold, so that no matter what, it would never seem to me like a dream. This cruel fact had already confronted me. On such a crazy night, Rena had been unimaginably dependable. Hinamizawa's metamorphosis, enough to make Rena caution me against carelessness, was, to me, the most fearsome thing of all. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. She tends to be more aloof and careless herself, and now she's like, nobody got time for that. The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. I know I already said that, but I just really want to emphasize just how high up it is. Usually it doesn't jump cut. Okay. We met up with Mion on the way, and she, of course, was unsure whether to believe me about Rika-chan and Satoko's disappearance. Kei-chan, are you serious? I'm going to get really mad if this is a joke. Mion was clearly displeased. If this were a joke, it wasn't very funny. I understood how indiscreet my words were. Ever since the day before yesterday, someone had either died or vanished every night. Rika-chan and Satoko disappearing after all that was something you just couldn't say, even in jest. Mi-chan, if it really is a joke, don't get mad. Smile. It would be a joke after all. I'd slap him upside the head. No, if someone joked to me about dear friends just suddenly disappearing, I would be mad. But also relieved that my friends are actually okay. But I would kind of be a little bit mad. We need to go make sure whether it's a joke or not. It's the worst kind of joke if so. You're right. Sorry for getting upset. However indiscreet a joke it may have been, if we learned that our friends were safe, it would end up as nothing more than a funny story. Having been warned about that by Rena, Mion gave me a dry smile, the tension she felt loosening a bit. She mounted her bicycle as well. Our 3 bicycle lights flashed down the pitch-black roads. They were some of the only illumination outside. The moon was unusually high in the sky. Sorry. Kei-chan, why did you suddenly decide to call and ask about Rika-chan's house at a time like this? Mion asked me the same thing that I had trouble explaining to Rena. Would it be weird to call it a premonition? I couldn't quite tell because it was dark, but I thought I could see Mion smiling very ambiguously. I definitely understood that she wasn't convinced, though, despite the darkness. Well, I had this bad dream while I was snoozing, and I couldn't get it out of my head. So, did Rika-chan get kidnapped in the dream? Well, it was more of a vague feeling sort of thing. If Rika-chan had answered the phone, I would have called you and Rena after that. Lies smoothly babbled out of my mouth, makeshift though they were. I was lying because I thought telling them I was connected to Shion would be like silently admitting we'd stolen into the ritual storehouse together that night. Mion didn't press me any further. I don't know whether that convinced her. Or maybe she figured that making sure Rika-chan and Satoko were safe would be faster than making an issue out of it. Right? I felt relieved and immediately a little guilty. Mion hadn't really been acting any differently these last few days, but I'm still trying to distance myself from her for some reason. It was only because of what I had heard from Shion and Oishi-san, that she was the successor to some kind of super extravagant gang family. No. Was I just trying to force myself to forget? Don't do that, Keiichi Maibara. Wasn't it Mion who was the first to ask about the night of Watanagashi? In such a harsh tone at that? Have I already forgotten the terror I felt? You've forgotten a lot of terror, my guy. Well, no. Alternate timeline, most likely. So can't really forget stuff that didn't happen. Anyway. At the time, Mion looked like someone different from the Mion I knew. When I think about that Mion, then Shion and Oishi-san's descriptions of Mion made a tiny bit more sense. That's it, isn't it? If it wasn't for how she acted that day, then I wouldn't be feeling this way towards her now. What on earth was going on with her back then? I was conveniently thinking only of everything she had done after that, while disregarding the very first thing, the thing I should have been looking at most, wasn't I? Mion was pedaling her bicycle in front of me, her long hair fluttering in the wind. No matter how long I looked at her back, it never gave me answers to any of my questions. We went all the way to the stone steps leading up to the shrine grounds. Of course, we weren't going to haul our bikes up there, so we parked them beside the staircase instead. So this is the Furude Shrine. Everybody comes and goes as they please, as if it were a park, but this place is actually a grand estate owned by the Furude family. So the entire shrine is private property. It really makes you feel the passage of time. 10 or 20 years ago, it would have looked the exact same. Then wouldn't that mean that the Furude family is really old? With a history going back for generations? Yeah. They're gone. That's odd. Sorry. Yeah, they're gone. That's odd. Rena said something clearly disquieting, so I ran over to her. What's wrong, Rena? Rika-chan and Satoko-chan always leave their bicycles here. See? They're gone. I took a look around. Indeed, there were no other bicycles aside from the ones we'd taken to get here. Couldn't they have parked them somewhere else? Could they have brought them up the stairs? Those girls couldn't do that, Keiichi-kun. Just as she said, I couldn't imagine Rika-chan and Satoko lugging their bikes all the way up there. We hadn't yet knocked on Rika-chan's door, but reality was already sparking some ideas that weren't what you'd call good. Maybe they were just parked under some trees and we hadn't noticed them. I refused to believe that not being able to find their bikes here was proof that they'd disappeared. Let's go. The only way to be sure is to check their house. We all nodded and dashed up the stone steps. I mean, now we could say, like, maybe they went out somewhere. Like, at this time of night, that wouldn't make sense, of course, but if something happened and they had to use their bikes to go into town, then, or maybe they're helping with the search for the elder? I don't know. They shouldn't be, but they might be. I highly doubt they're going to be home if their bikes are gone. Point is, like, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the bike's disappearing as a cover-up if someone actually did something. Who knows? I just know for a fact we're definitely not going to hear from them now. Like, there's a very minuscule chance. Unless someone stole their bikes, but... We passed through the red arch and came out onto the shrine grounds, which was covered in neat gravel. It was so quiet here, as though the Watanagashi festival had never happened. So, where's the house they live in? Over here. Come with me. Rana took the lead and sprinted off. If it actually is the storage house, I'm gonna be stunned. Okay, no. That's not the storage house. That's a different part. We went towards the assembly hall behind the shrine, then looped around behind it. Unless this is just us. Okay. In the darkness of the night, we found a small, prefab 2-story shack that looked like a warehouse. But not the storage house, so it's fine. If it were the storehouse, I'd be much more concerned. The lights are off. Are they sleeping? Let's knock. Rana and Mion neared the shack, which didn't really look like a place people would live. They had such a beautiful shrine, so I figured they'd live in an equally beautiful house. It was far from what I had expected. Rika-chan! Satoko-chan! Are you there? Rana shouted up towards the second floor. Her voice was restrained at first, but it steadily grew louder. No answer. In fact, there wasn't any sort of activity in the house at all. Probably because the bikes are gone, indicating that they may have gone somewhere. Or didn't return from somewhere. They might be sleeping. Let's wake them up. Give me your rock. I'll throw it at the windows. But just a small rock so I don't break them. Mion banged on the shutter with both hands. That would probably work better, actually, and less destruction. And the loud sounds echoed into our surroundings. They would have to notice this much noise. They would turn on the light in their room, fling open the windows, and yell, "What time do you think it is?" That, however, wasn't happening. There was absolutely no response. Leon stopped slamming her fists on the shutter, and a sudden silence fell over us. The silence aroused terrible thoughts in us. I could feel the blood draining from my face. It's locked. I wonder if I can get into somehow. Typo. It should be, I wonder if I can get in somehow, or into the house somehow. You're either edit into or add more words. Anyway, wonder if we can get in somehow. Miranda showed no signs of stopping. It didn't look like she would admit they weren't there unless we went inside and saw for ourselves. You know what? That's actually a good point. No, it might still be considered breaking and entering, but maybe under the guise of, or not really a guise, but with the excuse that we're doing it to find our friends who we think something bad happened to our friends, so we're trying to go in and find them. I feel like we would get a lesser sentence if there is a sentence, anyway. Yeah, let's get in there. Maybe a clue if nothing else. That refusal to give in gave me strength. The second-story windows wouldn't be locked. Really? Maybe it's just me and the fact that I've always locked my windows. Or maybe this is a different era thing or just a culture thing. I figured you should lock every single window when you're not using it. Clearly, there's a lack of sitcoms that involve a boyfriend sneaking over to their girlfriend's house and using a ladder to come in through the window. So that happens a lot in American media. Anyway, the second-story windows wouldn't be locked. I'll give them a try. Kei-chan, a ladder. Mion brought over a ladder that was standing against the house. Yeah, I was looking at that ladder in the background, but it looks like that's more of a step ladder, like a small ladder. Or maybe there's a bigger one, or maybe it would give him enough of a boost. Anyway. The footing was a little unstable for me to be climbing it, but Mion held the ladder firmly in place for me. Also, desperate times. I hadn't climbed too many ladders. Oh, so welcome to the world of ladder anxiety. My inexperience with them exposed, I climbed up one step at a time and tried to open each window on the second floor. If you're trying to open each one, then that means they probably locked them. Mi-chan, I'm going to go check the main house just to be sure, okay? I'll be right back. You better. You got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Rena darted away. What? A main house? It's the Furude family's actual house. After her parents passed away, I think it's been left like that. That makes sense. Right. Rika-chan's parents. They passed away, huh? At that point, I recalled something else. Wasn't Satoko living here too? Satoko's also an orphan. Her parents fell from a cliff because of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Then her older brother, Satoshi-kun, he disappeared. Satoshi. I've heard that name before. I remembered. He was the one who disappeared last year because of the curse. Ever since then, Satoko and Rika-chan have been living in this shack. Neither of them has any family, but at least they're together. They help each other out. Rena said main house, didn't she? What's that? Get his knees. Whew, that was a violent one. Jesus. Glad I muted for that one. Rena said main house, didn't she? Wouldn't it be easier to live there? The curtains were drawn, so I couldn't get a good look inside to see, but 2 young girls living together seemed like a pretty tough life. I think she tried at first. She said it was hard, though, because it reminded her of her parents. I had no idea. I feel really bad for them. They were normally so cheerful at school that I never even realized an atom of this. Rika-chan and Satoko-chan. They have it hard, huh? She's cursed. That's a harsh way to follow up with that. Huh? Suddenly, Mion said something in such a low voice that it sounded like she was really cursing someone, and I didn't let it slide. I don't like that the transition stopped there. It's probably on purpose because she's gonna have the spooky eyes. Or the hawk-like eyes, as they call it often. But, fear. I also hate when they get close up. Oh, God. I turned around on the ladder to face her and asked again. Mion, what did you just say? I said she's cursed. Mion, still holding onto the ladder, brought her head up to look me in the eyes. As soon as our eyes met, an absolute just zero jolt of electricity surged through my body. Oh, God, that made me jump. That made me jump. Mion's eyes clouded over, and within them bubbled a stew of chaos. They whirled around and around like a raging sea, and bubbles floated to the surface. I had at some point been trapped on this ladder, like being cornered on a dead-end street. Mion, you... Why are you making that face? I intended to follow that up with, "You're going too far with this joke," and gave her a forced smile. However, on such uneven footing as I was, the only thing that came out of my mouth was a hoarse groan as I desperately struggled to not let nausea overwhelm me. Satoko Hojo. She's been cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Mion answers. Yeah, I was wondering who... You were playing the pronoun game, you had me like, which she? We're talking about two! Mion answers with a response to something I never asked, as if replying to somebody else's question. The only people who fell from the park observation platform were her parents. Only her parents, who treated her like dirt, died that day. She was the only one to survive. Then, she was sent to live with her aunt, who treated her cruelly, and the aunt was killed on the night of Watanagashi by some deviant, who beat her to death so violently her brains were everywhere, and her head an entirely different shape by the end of it. Then, Satoshi-kun, who always protected her. He suddenly disappeared on her birthday. Someone made him disappear, even though he wasn't abusing her. The police judged him to have run away from home, but Satoshi-kun wasn't the kind of person who would do that. He was always earnest. He would never ask for anyone's help, anyone else's help. He would always drag himself through everything with hard work alone. He worked so hard, he nearly ground his bones into dust, all for his one and only little sister. And yet someone made him disappear. She was the only thing he lived for, and yet someone made him disappear. Poor Satoshi-kun. He was never rewarded, that Satoshi-kun. How ungrateful that child is. She is cursed. All who get near her suffer the same fate. The curse kills them, or the curse makes them disappear. She cannot have any relief. She cannot have any relief. It's probably Satoka's fault that Rika-chan disappeared too. It has to be, 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 it has to, it has to, it has to, it has to. Mion was mumbling words over and over that were no longer coherent. Her shoulders were trembling so hard that I could feel it through the ladder. I almost lost my footing, which made me realize just how far away the ground really was. Calm down, Mion. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't sure if she even heard me. Mion rocked back and forth, and that rocking and trembling was becoming even more violent. Help me. The ladder... it's falling. Help me. Help! Just then, I heard the sound of many people running towards us. Oh, hey! Over here! I very nearly said, help me, outright. 4 or 5 adults, led by Rena, ran over here with flashlights. Keiichi-kun, Mi-chan, sorry I took so long. I borrowed the key. Oh, nice one. Just snap it right back on it, like, flipping a switch, huh? It seems all the windows and doors are perfectly sealed. I was getting worried. When I heard Mion talking like nothing had just happened, I again felt a chill run through me. The person currently holding the ladder in place, it was definitely Mion. It was the real Mion Sonozaki. Then, the person muttering to themselves just a few seconds ago. Who was that? The person who was mumbling about terrible things, like curses. Who was that? I jumped down from the ladder as if running away before Mion turned into that person who wasn't Mion a second time. Friend is turning into person who isn't a friend. That parallel to the first chapter, but this time with Mion instead of Rena. Damn. The adults tried a few different keys on a keyring as they tried to open the big shutter on the first floor. Rika-chan's house used to be a disaster shelter for the town council. So the key to the shutter is still kept in the mayor's house. It's Rika-chan and Satoka's private residence now, though. Wow, what was... Hold on. Incorrect emphasis of words. Let me try that again. It's Rika-chan and Satoka's private residence now, though. Or now, though. One of the two... Whatever. Anyway. Well, this is on Rika-chan's property, anyway. Nobody complains about it. Mion gave me a smile as she said that. I, however, could only return her gaze with an aghast expression. Mion was acting all too normal now, but that only contrasted all the more sharply with her earlier un-Mion-like creepiness. Bang, bam, clatter, 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 bang. Bang, bang, gimme fame. The shutter opened up for the first time in a very long while. Rena located the light switch and wasted no time going inside. I followed her in. Rika-chan! Satoko-chan! If you're here, say something! We climbed a narrow staircase. It had looked like nothing more than a warehouse, but now that I was inside, I could feel how lived in it was. It was a person's home. Somehow, the sense of the two of them filled the place, almost like they lived there. This was definitely where Rika-chan and Satoko lived. Oh, look at that cute little kitchen. It's almost like my kitchenette, except with except it has cabinets and a larger sink. My sink's maybe half, if not a third that size. And instead of the pot, I have a microwave. I don't have much space. Anyway, the first floor doubled as a town assembly warehouse, but the second floor was a space entirely for living. Just like a one-room apartment. Past the kitchen was a living room taking up about 150 square feet. Dressers, cupboards, and the like were packed into the space. And in the corner, there was a huge pile of clothes that appeared to have just been taken in from drying outside. In the center of the living room was a fold-up table, and on it were small containers for things like soy sauce and salad dressing. The sense of a frugal lifestyle drifted from all of it. Now, they are only kids. It was strange that they weren't here in the middle of the night like this. The adults, climbing the stairs one at a time, began to make a fuss and talk amongst themselves. So? Not here? Yeah, they're not here. This is definitely weird. Weird is understatement of the century, honey. The village had just been thrown into chaos yesterday because of the mayor's disappearance. Then today, even Rika-chan and Satoko had... Were they out playing somewhere together? That can't be. Their bicycles aren't here, though. Where would they have gone so late at night? Have they just not come back yet? Where did they go? The adults put forth various possibilities, and the house immediately devolved into a state of confusion. Eventually, Mion settled them down. I don't want to believe it, but the mayor, Kimiyoshi, disappeared yesterday. We can't say that this is unrelated. The adults' faces paled at Mion's declaration. Mai and Rena's did as well. Let's see. They could have gone nearby for some tea or something, then accidentally fallen asleep. Whoever invited them might just not be able to wake them up at all, too. Let's eliminate that possibility first. Makino-san, please go around to the houses near the stream. Keitaro-san, go look near Ojaga Lake. Ojaga Lake. Okamura-san, you? Mion promptly gave directions to the villagers. The adults followed them without hesitation, despite her age. We'll remain here and call up anyone we can think of on the phone. Maybe they have an address book. Someone's bound to have one, come on. Okay, everyone, you have your orders. Got it. The adults all roared in reply and pounded back down the stairs below. One at a time, though, because narrow stairs. Wow, Mi-chan! You're not only chairperson of the school, but Hinamizawa, too! No time for jokes. Hey, step aside. This old man is using the phone. Where's the rotary device? I felt like she would play into it, but she's right. No time for jokes. Address book? Mion grinned proudly, took the receiver, and got started. Rena gave Mion a trusting look, considering her dependable for doing all of this. My feelings, though, were a little more complicated, since her leadership seemed to be affirming the Sonozaki family successor impression that Shion and Oishi-san had given me. Stop right there, Keiichi Maibara. None of that matters right now. And also, maybe she's just channeling her class rep side, you know? Sounds like when you would, you know, dish out, tasks for your classmates or something. Or maybe that's why she's class rep, I don't know. Anyway, none of that matters right now. The most important thing is to make sure Rika-chan and Satoko are safe. Let's see. Couldn't there be a clue hinting at where they might have gone somewhere in this room? If this were one of those, like, actual gameplay visual novels, then this would be the part where you click around on all the furniture to see if you can find something sus. Ever seen the investigative modes in Danganronpa and Phoenix Wright? But this isn't Danganronpa or Phoenix Wright, so you're not getting that. Still though, I wouldn't know what to look for anyway. If we tore the whole place apart and figured out what was different from before, we might be able to speculate, but there was nothing strange about this room, and there were no clues in sight. Also, this is your first time here, so maybe ask Rena. Pardon the yawn, but exactly. In the first place, I had never been here before. There was no way for me to know what was different if I didn't know how the room usually looked. Hey, don't give up, Keiichi Maibara. Stop thinking and start looking. For something. In search of something, I tried pulling open the dresser drawers and opened the windows. Excuse me? I didn't uncover anything meaningful, though. Rena, also unable to stand around doing nothing, was looking around the room like I was. Rena, I don't think you'll find Rika-chan by opening the refrigerator or the cabinet underneath the sink. I just thought they might be hiding. The fridge would be too cold. But also check the status of the food. If it's too old, then if it looks moldy, then something's definitely wrong. As we were searching, it got noisy outside. Villagers were quickly assembling here, having heard the commotion. Of course, a lot of them were probably people Mion had called. I'll go tell everyone what's going on. The police will be here sooner or later, too. We'll need to explain this situation to Oishi. Mion began descending the stairs, and we followed her out to the front of the house. There were already around 10 adults there. And all of them looked uneasy. I mean, dude, young children are missing. I would also be uneasy. I feel uneasy whenever I get an Amber Alert on my phone. Because it makes me sad thinking about a kid missing. Anyway, I suddenly noticed that the old people from the shrine were here as well. And they were praying for Rika-chan's safety, rubbing their prayer beads. This had gotten bad. This wasn't just a problem between friends anymore. Mion-chan, is it true that Rika-chan and Satoko-chan aren't anywhere to be found? The villagers all formed a ring around Mion, swarming her. Mion raised her right hand, as if silently telling them to calm down. First, let's check every house according to the town council's notification division and see if they're visiting anyone. After all, they could be fast asleep at someone's house and totally unaware that we're looking for them. It would definitely be hard for someone to wake up Rika-chan if she had eaten a good full meal and fallen asleep like a kitten afterwards. Oh, how nice it would be if that were the case. I don't want to think about this, but it's also possible something bad has happened. Mion's face grew remarkably more grim, and a wave of silence washed over the adults. We should divide the work up too. We'll go around to all the places we went last night while looking for the mayor. We'll go look around the damn construction site as best we can. You guys go search around the school. Right. Let's get a move on. Come on, let's go. All of you were up all night looking for the mayor. I know you're all low on sleep, but please do your best. Got it. With that as their signal, the adults scattered in every direction. I figured I should scatter somewhere as well, so I started walking unsteadily in a direction no one else had gone in. I was getting farther and farther from people. I didn't feel scared or anything, though. You might want to remember what Rena said. Remember what Rena said. If someone were made to disappear, Shion and I should be first. It would have been perfectly normal for me to be scared of the dark. However, I didn't feel that way. Why was that? It was because tonight, someone had already disappeared. So, nobody else would disappear tonight. Are you sure about that? You sure? Two people just disappeared, Keiichi. Two. Not just one. Two. Not someone. People. Two small children disappeared. Who's to say? Okay, it's more than one person already. That means they might be willing to break the rules if they see you. Just saying. It would take some time before I, exhausted as I was, would feel guilt at the cause of my own selfish sense of relief. I swear this better not be the end of the chapter. Good. I was thinking it wouldn't make sense for this to be the end of the chapter because barely anything has happened. Suddenly, my vision cleared and a cold wind caressed my body. This was the hill from which you could see the whole village. Looking down from this hill, I could see lights on here and there, and knew that the entire village had awoken from its slumber. First, Takano-san and Tomitake-san, then the mayor. And now even Rika-chan and Satoko had been sacrificed. And word of it was spreading everywhere. The strength in my knees left me. This could no longer be a joke. We could have found them. Mion would have told me I was a worrywart. Rena would just be glad we did, and they would have smiled at me. My hopes disappeared as if I were awakening from a dream. That was what the view I could see was telling me. Following my knees, my arms both bent forward onto the ground, and I clawed at it with my nails. I couldn't figure out if I was feeling sorrow or frustration. Is this my fault? I couldn't endure the burden of my own sin, and I had just told Rika-chan about it. They had nothing to do with it, but Rika-chan and even Satoko had been sacrificed. It was like a cross that Shion and I would each have to bear the weight of until we ourselves were erased. Well, if I'm going that far, then the problem started long before that. My original sin of breaking taboo and entering the ritual storehouse without asking. I knew I shouldn't have gone in there from the start. Yet I lost out to cheap curiosity. I hadn't felt so angry at myself until this very moment. There was a crunching sound. I wasn't even interested in who made the noise, despondent as I was. Keiichi-kun? Keiichi-kun? Are you okay? It was Rena. Perhaps my clawing at the ground made it look as though I was having stomach pains. That's not what I would think at first. I would think you were, like, giving into frustration, but anyway. I do still hate when they do that. She ran over and rubbed my back to make me feel better. This is all my fault. It's because of me. It's my fault. Keiichi-kun's fault? You didn't do anything wrong. Please, don't blame yourself for this. I could tell Rena was doing her best to choose the right words out of consideration for me. That's why I could sense her intent behind those words. Keiichi-kun, you know why Rika-chan and Satoka-chan disappeared, don't you? Is what she really meant to say. Because it was an emergency, Rena had ignored the reason why I wanted to make sure Rika-chan was safe, but now that we'd actually confirmed her disappearance, it was only natural Rena would start to wonder about why. However, with the situation having gone this far, I couldn't possibly tell her now. I didn't want to admit that Rika-chan and Satoko had disappeared, but I couldn't let Rena disappear either. I'm just gonna say, buddy, it could be worse. She could, like, Satoko didn't know and she disappeared, so it's possible Rika could disappear either way. So, do with that what you will. Keiichi-kun, if you stay out here in the wind, you'll catch a cold. Rena sat down, bringing her eyes level with mine. They told us that children should go back home to sleep. Rena showed me her watch as she said that. It was long past 1 in the morning. Time was passing too quickly. Had I been crawling around here for that long? If we don't sleep soon, we'll have trouble getting up for school tomorrow. Honey, school is the last fucking thing on my mind right now. Even the adults are really worn out since they were up searching for the mayor last night too. They were saying they'd break up a little earlier tonight. I was a little upset that they weren't allotting as much time to this as they had to search for the mayor last night. But that was something I, the cause of everything, had no right to criticize them for. It's all right. The police arrived a little while ago. Look, there's police cars coming into the village right now. Hearing that remark, I looked down at the village to see that there were indeed more cars than one would normally expect at this hour, coming from the darkness on the other side of the mountain. However, none of their emergency lights were on. Of course, their sirens weren't wailing either. That's right. All of the incidents that occurred right after Watanagashi were seen as the product of Oyashiro-sama's curse and would be handled in secrecy. Rika-chan and Satoko too. Their disappearance would end up exactly like the other serial incidents in the past. Surreptitious. I've actually never seen that word before. Surreptitious. Yeah, surreptitious, I guess. Unresolved, declared a mystery, and disappear from memory. Rika-chan's face. Her sweet face, like a Western doll's, would fade away. Satoko's smile, her energetic, fanged smile, would fade away. The more I tried to remember them, the less I would be able to. I deserved to be called an idiot dozens of times over, and it wouldn't be enough. I couldn't hold back the tears at my own sheer stupidity. I don't know what you're blaming yourself for, Keiichi-kun, but you should stop. I wasn't about to deny it. I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't affirm it either. I wanted to at least keep Rena out of this. If she found out, she would become involved. Please, Rena. Could you just leave me alone? Even if I went home, I wouldn't be able to sleep. If I couldn't get to sleep, then I at least wanted to search for Rika-chan and Totoko until I collapsed. The entire village was looking, and yet they still hadn't been found. I don't think I'd be able to find them if I went looking alone at this point. Still, I had to do it. They disappeared because of me. I couldn't possibly go to sleep while other people are out there searching. I said that to myself in self-deprecation, but I soon realized that Rena was silently trying to find the meaning in my mumblings. I realized I had misspoke. It's Keiichi-kun's fault? Why do you think that? Why? That can't be. Keiichi-kun, you're not at fault. I was happy that Rena said these things to me, but she only did so because she didn't know the truth. If she knew that everything had been caused by my breaking taboo on the night of Watanagashi, then even Rena would curse my existence. However, I can't even allow for those curses. That would mean confessing my own crimes to Rena. If I spilled even one word of having snuck into the ritual storehouse on the night of Watanagashi, then even Rena could disappear tomorrow night. The gentle, spirited, always joking, always howling, but at a time like this, the most dependable person in the world, Rena, might disappear. I don't want that. Anything but that. This time, I need to bear my own cross. Alone. Keiichi-kun, I know that you always have your friends in your heart. I can really understand feeling like you want to kick yourself. Rena knows, though, that it's not Keiichi-kun's fault. You didn't do anything wrong, Keiichi-kun, and I know that. You know that? The shivering in my veins rushed up my back and replaced the sorrow in my heart with fear. I didn't tell her anything, did I? Maybe I accidentally said something that caused Rena to figure it out? This is bad. Now, Rena will disappear, Rena will disappear, Rena will disappear. And Rena, the same way I always did, grabbed my head and began to pet it roughly. Keiichi-kun, are you thinking that Rena might disappear now too? Because of Oyashiro-sama's curse? I'm getting, yeah, I'm feeling that fear. You're kind of nailing it on the head right now, girl. She puts more force into the hand rubbing my head. You don't need to worry about that. Rena isn't going anywhere. I promise. Why? How can you say that with such confidence? I mean, someone's been sacrificed every night so far. There was no proof that it wouldn't happen again tomorrow night. There was even less proof, after all, that the sacrifice wouldn't be Rena. I don't care who you are. Just, please, if you're going to erase someone, erase me first. Please stop cruelly getting rid of people we're close to, like the mayor for Shion and Rika-chan and Satoko for me. Shion's hysterical shouting came back to mind. They must be planning to kill us last of all. They're not killing the first people who come to mind. They start by killing those we're close to. And then even after they've caused us so much pain, or then after, not even, then after they've caused us so much pain, they'll kill us. That must be what they're doing. Rena, please don't disappear. Please don't. As long as I'm still here. I could no longer conceal the sobs welling up within me. Come on, Keiichi-kun. Crying doesn't suit you. Let's go back to the others. The housewives are cooking some miso soup for us. It'll warm you up and calm you down. Rena prompted me to stand. I didn't have the energy to oppose her, so I stood as she urged me to. We returned to the shrine grounds to find several gas stoves there with miso soup in big pots. The many villagers there sipped at the soup they were given in dead, stony silence. Their expressions were absolutely exhausted. Everyone had just been running around the village until a little while ago. From the dreary looks on their faces, though, I assumed they hadn't come up with anything yet. Kei-chan, where did you go? I was worried you disappeared too. Sorry. Mion held out some miso soup for me, but I refused the offer. I didn't have much of an appetite. Mi-chan, how is it? Did you find any clues? Mion took a sip of her soup, her expression frank. Not at all. School ended and they went home. Then the two of them went somewhere on their bicycles. Moreover, nobody ever saw them riding their bikes, so... When it gets dark out in Yamizawa, people quickly vanish from the streets. Aside from adults hurrying back home from town in cars or on bicycles, it was normal to see absolutely nobody walking around outside. It wasn't at all strange that nobody had seen Rika-chan and Satoko riding their bikes. It was the same last night with the mayor. There's no hope. Mion's apathetic tone pricked my nerves. But that anger quickly subsided. She had been doing all sorts of things to try and find Rika-chan until just a second ago. If I asked her, she'd probably say she was up all night last night too, looking for the mayor, wouldn't she? She must have been far more fatigued than I was. Besides, what about me? I had spent the time hunched over in indecision all alone. I had no right to say anything about Mion. Kei-chan, I know it's hard, but let's turn in for the night. We just decided we should break up the search for now. Drink this and let's call it quits. Is this the end? Oh, no, of course not. Once it's bright out again, we'll do a thorough search with the police's help. They could have gone to Okinomiya, too. People are even saying we should go through all of Shishibone City investigating whether there are any witnesses for both the girls and the mayor. Anyway, what happened, Kei-chan? Where did you go off to? You vanished all of a sudden. I was really worried. Suddenly, I was on the receiving end, but I didn't have the willpower to respond. Sorry. I'll be more careful. Nothing happened? There wasn't anyone suspicious spying on or stalking you? Nothing like that? Mion demanded with a serious expression. I was being criticized for how inconsiderate I had been. Despite being in so much pain. I was frustrated that I was being criticized, but it was my sin. My sin. And I must bear it alone. Nothing. I'll be careful either way. Sorry. Mion, now aware that nothing had happened, heaved a big sigh with her shoulders, looking relieved. I was bracing myself for her to suddenly pop up, like, with the close-up sprite. I was ready, but then Oishi-san popped up instead, and I kind of still jumped a little. Oh, my. I knew I had smelled something good coming from over here. I'd be much obliged if you'd allow me to have some. Also, I was actually tearing up while getting in character with that, so if if my voice is a little cracked up, that'll be why. I'm sorry. It's that empathy, man. It's that empathy, me putting myself in other shoes super easily. It's the super empathy. Oh, God. We heard the repulsive voice of a man. Actually, no. Fat isn't being used in a negative tone here, I would assume. Well, it can be used in a negative tone, but I am going to refuse to do that. Fat is a descriptor, not an insult. Fuck you if you use it for an insult. We heard the repulsive voice of a fat man. It was Oishi-san, trailed by a handful of police officers. He was acting energetically, in a way unfitting given the situation. Yeah, I was just thinking, read the room, bro. There's not much left. But you can have some if you want. Mion didn't like Oishi-san very much. Her cold attitude, though, didn't seem to bother Oishi-san in the slightest. Oh yeah, probably because he's experienced as all hell, so it's like, I've been called worse things, I've been given worse attitudes. I can take it. It was like splashing water in a frog's face. Well now, miso soup leftovers have a bit too much salt for my taste. Confound it. Would you all like any? He recommended it to his subordinates, but everyone gave dry smiles and refused. So, have the police gotten hold of any clues? Rena's smile was warm enough to replace the miso soup. Don't you worry, little missy. Everything's fine. No, it ain't. We're searching for them real good. I don't like the laughter after an exaggerated real. Like, it almost feels like, oh, we're searching for them real good. So, actually, is it too salty? Like, bro, read the fucking room. He didn't say a word about having found any new clues. I mean, he didn't deny it, but he also didn't confirm it. So, I guess that's a confidentiality thing, but still. In other words, there had been no progress. It sure was an annoying way of beating around the bush. In any case, it really has gotten late. All you youngsters should get on home and get some sleep. It'll be bad for your health otherwise. Yeah. Kei-chan, Rena, get some rest. These guys get our tax money. They'll handle it from here for us. Well, you told us to get a move on. How about you? I'd be like, all right, sure. If you come with us. You don't see it, but I'm making a come hither gesture with my hand. We're taxpayers too, you know. I feel like a soba noodle chef eating my own soba. I really wasn't in the mood for laughter. Yeah, that's why it's the same. That's why I kind of half-assed it. In fact, Oishi-san was the only one laughing like an idiot. Imagine his, like, subordinates just kind of tugging at their collars like, bro, like, I know you're the leader, right? That you're leading us right now. You're like the leader of the squad right at the moment, but, maybe not laugh in front of the kids who are friends with the missing kids. It's probably a bad look. Just saying. Okay, seriously, please, do your best. Let's go home, Keiichi-kun. It'll be harder to wake up tomorrow if we don't. Yeah, yes, that's right. I can always bring you home if needed. If you need. Kuma-chan, why don't you bring the car around? No thanks. We came on our bicycles, so... No need to worry. We came in a truck. We'll just throw the bikes in the back. We may have gotten pretty sleepy, but we just needed to ride home at this point. I didn't want to bother the police like that. Rena, however, nodded. Okay, if you insist, we'd appreciate it. It's probably safer than if we went back alone. When I thought about it carefully, I realized that Rena's idea was extremely rational. Now that it's decided, let's get a move on, shall we? Okay, bye. Good night. Rena? Kei-chan? You just gonna hang out here? Yeah. Mi-chan, you go to bed soon too, okay? Okay, and is she going home by herself? Bro? Bruh? Dude? I mean, I know out of all of us, she's the one most likely to be able to defend herself, but, like, easily in a fight, but come the fuck on. You better have some way to get home safely, Mion. I waved my hand as well, saying goodbye. Rika-chan and Satoko still hadn't been found. My unease, however, was steadily being pushed away by sleepiness. Rena showed the police where our bicycles were so that Oishi-san could haul them up into their truck. He prompted us to get into the back seat. Is it talking time? I could hear the springs squeaking as I sat down onto a seat that would normally hurt my rear end, but at this point, it was very soft. It was more than comfortable enough for me to fall asleep on. Ladies first. Sorry, ladies first. We'll start with the little Mrs. house. Where do you live? Thank you. My house is... well... I'll go pass out. Bye. Rena's voice slowly grew distant. I felt myself being sucked into the void of sleep. Hello? Hi, Bar-san. Are you asleep back there? Meh. When I came to, it was quiet. The car was parked. Oishi-san was giving me light slaps on the cheek. It didn't feel good at all, so I woke up immediately. I'm sorry. I just fell asleep. Something was being held right under my nose. A clump of metal? It was a can of coffee. It's lukewarm by now. But café au lait? Au lait? Au lait? Probably French, so probably au lait. Cafe au lait is good even at room temperature. Oh, thanks. Coffee right before bed? I don't know about that. Unless you're one of those who gets sleepier with coffee, like I sometimes do. I mechanically took the can and opened the pull top. The feeling of the warm, sweet liquid going down my throat awakened my sleepy mind. When my drowsiness receded, I started wanting to know why the car was stopped and why I was offered coffee. Oishi-san, who had been in the driver's seat, had, at some point, moved to the back. Stranger danger, bro. Suddenly, I had a very bad feeling about this. It reminded me of the questioning yesterday at the library. Right, that did happen. Man, I hate being trapped in cars for conversations. Been there. Hate it. Specifically uncomfortable conversations. If it's just chatting while on a road trip, that's one thing. I mean more when someone's like, let's go for a ride. You know, one of those. And then they drop a bombshell on you. I hate those. I hate it. I hate being trapped in a situation where I can't walk away and process my feelings as I see fit. I hate it. Anyway, it was already too late by the time I'd realized I'd made a mistake. Today, of all days, it didn't look like I would be getting away. I had a feeling that until Oishi-san heard what he wanted to, he wouldn't be letting me go. Please, don't get all formal on me. I'm not going to eat you or anything. My bar-san. Oishi-san gulped down the last of his coffee, then stretched wide, showing me how relaxed he was. That, however, only serves to heighten my nervousness. What do you need from me? Need? Oh, no, nothing, really. You're going to evade the question at this point? What a deeply unreadable man. Well, that's why that's why he's been in this job for so long. Well, I don't need you for anything. I just thought that you might need something from me, my bar-san. I don't need anything. Except maybe my friend's back. Oh, I see. Really? Are you sure there's nothing? I'm not gonna laugh? There was only one side door in the back seat of this truck. Really? They could design trucks like that? They could design vehicles in general like that? Like, I know, like, one door for a car. I had a car like that where it had a front and a back, but only one door on either side. But I always thought there had to be, like, it had to be a pair in some way. Like a pair of front doors, a pair of back doors, you know. There had to be pairs. If you put one on one side, you had to have another. Anyway. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know anything about old Japanese vehicles. Anyway. There was only one side door in the back seat of this truck. In other words, my only exit was blocked off by Oishi-san. I couldn't get away. I could only limply hang my head and maintain my silence. Become an unmoving wall. Oishi-san, despite my reticence, relaxed and began smoking a cigarette, hopefully with the windows down. The cries of the insects outside seemed to be growing longer and longer, to an amount of time that almost seemed infinite. Here I was, sure that you had something you wanted to talk to me about. Oishi-san exhaled a puff of smoke. Outside, I hope. The windows were open, but the tobacco smoke still accumulated inside the vehicle. Oh yeah, probably because there's not much of a breeze to help carry it out. Because the car's still. Oh, so that's bad. You're exposing a child to secondhand smoke, brah. How much did Oishi-san know? What did he know, and what did he want to hear from me? if finding out the truth made you disappear, then if I told him, would Oishi-san disappear too? I had a feeling that I didn't need to worry about that in his case. I wonder how all this ended up happening. Oishi-san addressed me in a low tone as if he was talking to himself. How all this ended up happening? How the hell should I know? That was what I wanted to know. That was what I wanted to know. You know Jiro Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san, right? I know you do. Because I personally witnessed you with them during the festival, along with Shion Sonozaki-san. Do you know how Tomitake-san and Takano-san are doing now? Actually, well, passed away. They met very untimely deaths. Oishi-san probably played that card in order to surprise me. However, I already knew, and didn't display the extreme reaction he expected. That, or he's using this as a way to get a read on how much you do somehow know. If you're not surprised, then that means you know something is going on. And that'll give him a read on something. Just saying. What's this? Did you already know? Unfortunately for this question in particular, the remaining silence was equivalent to saying, unfortunately for this question in particular, remaining silence was equivalent to saying yes. Oh. So then, did you also know? The reason Tomitake-san and Takano-san were cursed like that? People are saying that apparently they went into some forbidden building. The storehouse for ritual implements. That forbidden shed, sealing away Hinamizawa's blood-stained past. Where the mistake that started it all happened. Do you know about the rumors? They say that the mayor and Rika Furure-san were cursed because of that too. Anyway. That would mean it was mine and Shion's fault. Hey, Yatsu. Cute girl, went to bed a while back, so now we in serious zone. Talking with the officer. Also, how you doing? He was right. As soon as we revealed what we did. What did they call it? Ritual storehouse? They're saying it was bad luck. The lock to it had been replaced by a simpler one, which made it easier for thieves to get inside. What? This was news to me. Language barriers hard, but... Yeah, language barriers are definitely hard, I bet. But at least y'all figured it out. I hope you had a good time. Until last year, it apparently had these big bars and a huge padlock on it. I mean, you know, ever since the priest and his wife passed away, Rika Furure-san has been managing the place, right? Apparently, she talked the mayor into saying she wanted them replaced with a lighter, more simple padlock because the bars were too heavy for her. I didn't know anything about those big bars he was talking about, but the lock had certainly been a simple one. It was a pretty cheap one, too, and it didn't really fit my impression of what a lock for a place you'd store something as important as ritual implements would look like. Buying a pizza, hell yeah! How would... Let me know how you would rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. Rika-san is a small girl, after all. The bars were heavy with rust, and they must have caused her a lot of trouble. So the mayor hired a craftsman and replaced the lock with a simple padlock so she could open it with a key. So, how does that mean it was bad luck? Okay, what's the exchange rate for that? I could look it up, but... reading. Like, is that a good rate, would you say, or... I don't know the conversion. How does that mean it was bad luck? It's a pun. It's a bad luck lock. You know, luck, very similar. Anyway, here's what I'm saying. Thieves couldn't get in with the old type... Oh, 30. It's only about $6? Damn! Yeah, like roughly 6 or 7, but that's still damn good, bruh! Here's what I'm saying. Thieves couldn't get in with the old tight lock. The mayor and Rika-san replaced it with a cheap lock and key on their own. So thieves broke into it. Apparently, that's how it's going down. That explanation's a bit... Letting that slide, certain members of the village delivered punishment upon the thieves who stole into the ritual storehouse, as well as the mayor and Rika-san who changed the lock. At least, those are the whispers that seem to be going around. Maibara-san. What do you think? What do I think? I don't really know what you mean by certain members of the village. Are you familiar with the 3 families? Representatives from each of them gave short addresses at the Watanagashi festival's opening ceremony. Did you see them? I came part way through the festival, so I don't really. The 3 families are the 3 oldest families in Hinamizawa. To give actual names, the Kimiyoshi family, the Sonozaki family, and the Furude family. They each have quite the lineage, it seems. Yeah, that one is Takano-san, yeah. That's certainly a way to put it. But yeah, that was Takano-san. She fucking did. And unfortunately, so is Tomitake-san, our photographer friend, who may be a little too chill at times. Anyway. Hold on. Hydration. Tomitake is the buff guy with a camera. But I think he's, as they say in Spider-Verse, I'm convinced he's a canon. Did she steal I actually don't know. Like, he's calling them thieves. The rumors are that they're thieves, but I personally do not know if she actually stole something or not. We're never informed if she did or not. If she did, though, Yeah, it's a canon event. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I think at this point, Tomitake, because he died in Chapter 1, he died again in Chapter 2, I am feeling convinced he might be a canon event. Like, no matter what reality we are in, he is supposed to die. He's supposed to be the death that spurs all of this. Takano just also happened to get... Well, actually, no, she went missing in Chapter 1 too, but we confirmed in this chapter, at least the events in this chapter, she didn't just disappear, she also... We found a body, so there's that. I'm still figuring it out. I'm... Because in Chapter 1, the main character also died. Like, Keiichi Maibara also died, so how do we have a Chapter 2? From his perspective, still. I'm thinking there's, like, some timey-wimey bullshit going on. There's gotta be some timey-wimey bullshit. Like, and it always happens around the festival. That's how you know shit's about to hit the fan when it's festival time. Unless they change that for future chapters. I don't know if they're gonna keep following the path of silly high school hijinks, festival time, horror. The gods need the children. Need the child alive. We shall see. We shall see. Right, anyway. Long ago, it's said that everything in the village was decided by a council of the 3 families. The Kimiyoshi family. Old Man Kimiyoshi, meaning the mayor's family. Well, it might be a god causing the wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey bullshit, so we'll have to see. It could be a territorial thing. Other gods may not be able to do shit. The Sonozaki family was Mion's. I would say is, not was, but okay. So the Furude family was Rika-chan's family then? After the war, the Sonozaki family quickly expanded their influence. Fair enough, fair enough. Practically speaking, after leading the fight against the construction during the dam conflict, they jumped to the top of the hierarchy in Hinamizawa. You see, though, in accordance with the old ways, they still decide important village matters only after consulting with the 3 families. That's why the leaders of the 3 families each have their own address at the start of Watanagashi. In other words, the mayor, the old lady currently in charge of the Sonozaki family, and the last remaining member of the Furude family, Rika-san. I heard that the Sonozaki family was pretty high up there. So, Rika-chan's family was just as old? Well, as you're aware, she has no relatives at all. In reality, the Furude family holds pretty much no influence. However, it seems like people gravitate towards Rika-san on a personal level, and I hear that many of the village's elderly have blind faith in her. It was certainly true that Rika-chan had an odd sort of charisma amongst the elderly. So, what are you telling me about all this 3 families stuff for? Oishi-san paused for emphasis, lighting another cigarette. Bro, that's not healthy. Stop. And also stop secondhand smoking. I've explained a lot, but I suppose it's still not enough. I'm asking because I don't understand. Oishi gave me a dry, meaningful grin and blew out another big puff of smoke. Out the window, I hope. Members of the 3 families are disappearing, one after the other. That's what I'm talking about. I've read that it's based on some kind of old traditions inherent in Hinamizawa, but I don't know much beyond that. I don't know anything about it either. Okay, but reader implication that hopefully, eventually, Keiichi will pick up on, even though we have learned he is dense and slow to pick up on the most obvious fucking hints. Oh fuck, Shion might be in trouble if that is the pattern we're following. If not her, then Mion, who we just left by herself because she's, I guess, gonna go home on her own, despite us establishing that's probably not wise right now. Fuck! Now let's see how long it takes for Keiichi to notice this. Looking at the timer, it says 2:23 for the stream, 2:23 and 10 seconds. Okay. I don't know anything about it either. That's why I'm asking. The leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Furude families have disappeared, so maybe the leader of the Sonozaki family will disappear next. Well, that's just a random idea bouncing around in my head at the moment. I'm not gonna laugh, I'm not in the mood. Just kidding. Really. The leader of the Sonozaki family. Who is it? It's Nana. The current leader is the old lady at their main house, but it wouldn't be incorrect to say that practically all the rights of leadership have been transferred to her granddaughter, Mion-san. Get back to to the shrine grounds and go pick up Mion. Right now. The visage of Mion giving prompt directions to the adults while searching for Rika-chan sprung to mind. Mion? She's gonna disappear? I hadn't even... Okay, it did not take him as long to figure it out. It took 1 minute and 20 seconds. Give or take. Probably closer to 15. But still, it took 1 minute versus the last one. We had to switch to a whole nother scene like 5 minutes later before he got the other thing about Satoko. So... I mean, I'm still not putting Shion off the chopping block either. I have a flag in my brain from my osmosis absorbing of this back in the mid-2000s. But I'm not going to say what, and I often keep forgetting it just in case. But also, I'll probably be shocked if it's revealed that I remembered it after all these years. But anyway. I hadn't even thought of that possibility. All my hair stood on end. That's insane. Nobody wants that, right? Of course not. We can't allow that. Clamp. Oishi-san grabbed my shoulders with both hands. Then help us, my Bara-san. If there's anything you've noticed about Mion Sonozaki lately, please tell me. I was going along with him? By the time I'd realized it, it was too late. Oishi-san brought his face in closer, almost close enough to ram into me, waiting for my next words. Sir, get the cigarette away from the miner. This pressure. I can't tear my eyes away from his. That moment, I heard a beeping sound. It's the too close to a miner beep. It was from the driver's seat. He ignored it at first, but then it started to bother him, so he finally let go of me and leaned into the driver's seat. Hello? Yep, loud and clear. I was saved. Of course, it's not like I could use this opening to escape. I see. Yes, all right. Let's head back then. Yes. Okay. Apparently he was being recalled. Now that I knew I'd be freed, the tension in my body dissipated all at once. Looks like I need to get going. We were just getting to the good part, too. That's too bad. Oishi-san flung open the door, exited, and walked around to the front to the driver's seat. Or walked around the front to the driver's seat. He left the door open. Yeah, but he's got your bike and you don't know where exactly you are. Did that mean I could leave? You really care about your friends, my Baro-san. An admirable trait for a kid to have in this day and age. I totally understand that it feels like you'd be betraying them if you told the police anything. My Baro-san, it's the middle of the night, so get a good night's sleep and then think about it. Just a little bit of courage from you might end up being what saves many of your friends in the end. Did he want to say that the sacrifices wouldn't stop with Rika-chan and Satoko? I feel like that was also part of the impression when he pointed out that the three families kind of feel like they're being targeted right now. And then Satoko as well for some reason. But yeah, Mion or Shion. I know they're saying Mion, but I'm not taking Shion off the chopping block either, considering she did a taboo directly. Just saying. Seriously, buddy, connect the dots better. You know this already, but every night since Watanagashi, something has happened. In the past, the curse only occurred once per year. But this time, it's been going on for days. What a prosperous year this has been. That's not the word I would use, buddy. I don't think you can call that prosperous. The night before and last night, and now today. There's no proof that something won't happen tomorrow night as well. It's our job to prevent such things before they happen. But for that, we need your cooperation, my Baro-san. I looked out the open door to see none other than my own house right in front of me. It creeped me out that he knew my name and address, but I was too sleepy right now. I mean, he could probably... He works with the police. He could probably easily get a hold of that, or he probably noticed you fell asleep a while back, or Rena noticed it and said, oh yeah, this is his address, take him here. I was too sleepy to care. Well, you're probably tired, even though I just gave you coffee. It's already 3 in the morning. Please, get yourself a good rest. Probably only 3 hours, but whatever. Yes, sir. I'll be going now. When I was about to get out of the truck, as if to deliver a parting blow, Oishi-san said, in a raised voice, I'll be coming by every day until you feel like talking, alright? I don't believe in forcing you to confess in an interrogation room is really in fashion these days. I couldn't say anything in response, but me slamming the door shut probably served the same purpose. Yeah. After lightly beeping the horn, Oishi-san's truck drove off. I went to the front door without waving goodbye. Did you get your bike? The door was locked, but the chain wasn't up. I unlocked the door and entered. Then walked over to the staircase. Did you lock the door behind you and put the chain in place? That was where I lost consciousness. You just collapsed to sleep right on the stairs, huh? Fair enough. Fair enough. Yep, there's the end of the chapter. Since it took like 2.5 hours to get through... Empty-handed. Go home already. Bro, go home already. That's such a harsh way to put it, considering empty-handed kind of... I know they put a bowl, like an empty bowl of miso there, but still, like, empty-handed, aka you return without finding your friends, is kind of upsetting. Also, I'll be stunned if school even happens, considering now 2 young children went missing! But whatever, I don't know. But yeah, since it took 2.5 hours to do that, that means if I did one more chapter, which would probably be the semi-final chapter, that means it would be tense and probably a bit long. So yeah, I'm gonna have to call it here after we look at the tips, obviously. But yeah, so we only got through one chapter today, and only because I have an early fucking morning tomorrow. So let's go through the tips, and then I will send y'all on a raid. I'm so fucking angry that we couldn't find Rika. Alright, tips. Oh, we got more. There's a... wait. Scrapbook, pause, scrapbook, another. Usually it's like you get the scrapbooks all at once. Fascinating. Alright. From the scrapbook, 9. What do we got, Takano-san? What did you put in your scrapbook? The Sonozaki family. The one to drastically expand its influence after the war was the Sonozaki family. The leader at the time was Oryo Sonozaki, who still has that seat today. Oryo Sonozaki has grown old, and today you can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. From what I've been told, however, she was a leader extolled as the best in history. Having become so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends her time at home in solitude, and seems to leave most of the ceremonial affairs to her heir, Mion. There are different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter Mion, but it's rumored that it has to do with the disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. Wonder what they did. That uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no signs of the dignity required of the next leader. However, she does have Sonozaki blood in her veins, and is permitted the name of Demon. What? She still doubtlessly requires caution, and is probably hiding her fangs and claws as skillfully as the leaders of the past did. I don't know. I know that Keiichi definitely didn't. Shion most likely didn't. Because... I don't know, it would feel like a weird thing for her to do. Takano, I wouldn't put it past her. She said she didn't, but I really would not put it past her. Tomitake-san, absolutely, I doubt he did. So really, it comes down to Shion as a possibility while we were distracted, or Takano being Takano. Did they steal ritual tools to disown? I don't know. This is my first time hearing about the disowned family. So I have no idea. But also, that's at the Furude Shrine, unless all the family keeps an eye on it. I don't know. But yeah, the disowned ones, no idea what got them disowned. Stealing ritual tools, that would be like a weird thing to do. Might explain why it's so under lock and key, that or them trying to hide the past. Oh, okay. Apologies, my autism is bad at picking up jokes sometimes. Well, I mean, they were just disowned, not cursed and possibly dead, so... as far as I know. Alright, let's see. Okay, but permitted the name of Demon? From Sonozaki blood in her veins? What? Is it because the three families of origin from back when it was the Onigafuchi village? Interesting. Oh, that's it. Okay. That's an interesting place to stop it, though. That's an interesting place to be like, so, she's probably a demon, or I can give her the title of demon, whatever the fuck that might mean. Alright. The elderly leader of the Sonozaki family. Let's see. Yes, the postal worker hasn't seen anything either. The Sonozaki main house has their seal hanging from their mailbox so that anyone can stamp their mail or parcels with it and drop it in. That's rather careless of them. So, when was she last seen? She was last seen at the Watanagashi opening ceremony greetings. She apparently returned home right after that. Well, she is pretty old. From what I've heard, she goes out a few times a week to take lessons, right? Have you found anything out about that? Every Monday, she goes to the assembly hall to practice the Taisho Goto, but she didn't go this week. Any calls to say she wasn't going to be there? Has anyone confirmed it? No, nobody. She apparently takes days off once in a while, though, so no one thought it was strange. Tomorrow, why don't we pretend we're the town hall and call around 10 o'clock? Please figure out whether she's at home. 10 o'clock. Got it. Ever since it started to seem more and more like ancient Hinamizawa traditions had something to do with all this, he'd been keeping a careful eye on the three families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family and the leader of the Furude family had disappeared. There was only one leader left. Oryo Sonozaki. The leader of the Sonozaki family. She was apparently a pretty old woman. Her dignity hasn't waned, but she still only appeared before people rarely. So it was difficult to confirm where she was at any given time. She, the last leader, hasn't been seen since the day of Watanagashi. Was she still alive and well within the Sonozaki main house? Or had she... I mean, if she was also got on the night of the mayor, that would make... You know, because currently it's like two went missing one night, then one guy went missing, and now we have two kids who are missing. So it's like 2, 1, 2. Of course, it could just be another one. It could be like a pattern of 2, 1, 2, or... I feel like, actually, no. It would probably be like that, because if she did pass on the night of the mayor disappearing, or disappeared on the night of the mayor disappearing, then Shion would be reacting more strongly, I think. Or, sorry, not Shion. Mion. Because Mion supposedly lives with her grandma. But that's just my speculation. Continuing. According to Mion Sonozaki, she had fallen ill and was sleeping it off. I wonder if she's really sleeping. I'd like to take a look at her face. And her pulse. You can say that again. The two of them breathed out a big puff of cigarette smoke. Oishi-san. About the search warrants for the Sonozaki main house and the Furude shrine. Do you think we'll get them? Oishi-san didn't respond. Exhaled another cloud of tobacco smoke. His surroundings now as foggy as his mind. And that's why you should smoke with the windows rolled down, goddammit, and then blow outside. Sheesh. Alright, 2 more. From the scrapbook, Tan. The Hidden Demon. The inhabitants of Hinamizawa believe that the blood of demons flows in their blood. As such, the character for demon, that, is treated as very sacred. For example, the usage of the character in names is apparently a right reserved for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki families. Case in point, we can see it in the current Sonozaki family leader's name, Oryo, is written with the character... Oh yeah, I guess you can see that it's a little scrunched up in there, huh? This, and only this, is proof that she is a legitimate leader of the Sonozaki family. In the same way, Mion Sonozaki, its successor, contains the character in her name, with me being written as that with the character in her name. It also goes for Orio's daughter and Mion's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her. Akane. It's known that before the disowning, Akane's name was actually written as... Yep, you can see the character in there. Though it was changed afterwards to... Still read as Akane. Okay. This almost feels like a lesson. Like I'm sitting in class. Incidentally, it's thought that the first character the Mayor Kichiro's name, that originally meant demon, which can also be read as Ki. It should be said that names using the character aren't limited only to successors of the Sonozaki family. You can even find it in the last names of the three families. For example, the characters for Kimiyoshi are likely a split-up version... Yeah, I'm seeing this is the same box. Yeah. Are likely a split-up version of the character. If you write it in reverse and top to bottom as this, it clearly resembles the character. As for the Furude family, who have been in the Shinto priesthood for generations, the word fortune teller can be written, without interval characters, as these characters. To think that with the addition of a demon's horn, the tick on top of the character, that the character becomes the character that is used in their name now. Interesting. The calligraphy slash alphabet, whatever the frick, is so poetic and artsy. I kind of admire it. Though I'm also intimidated thinking of trying to write down some of these characters. In the case of the Sonozaki family, where Sonozaki is written like this, I can't find any reference to the character Be. Perhaps because it's already ingrained into their first names. Yeah, maybe they have it applied to the first names, though I do see the box going on there as well. Maybe it's a bit more of a complicated puzzle one? I don't know. But still, that is interesting. They were the clan responsible for running the Watanagashi ceremony, so I think that instead they included the contents of that ceremony into their last name. The Zaki in Sonozaki is a conjugation of the word for slice, and the Sono, written as this, probably contains the hidden meaning of human body, as it is a complicated mess, organs, enclosed by 4 sides. Ah, interesting. But also kind of gross. I think, in other words, that Sonozaki comes from those who slice open the gut. Gross. And last one. Request denied. Probably the same request they were talking about in the car a moment ago. I'm back. How did it go? Did you find any clues? The officers shook their heads in disappointment. Ch.2, I'ma bap you. No. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's faces. That was only natural. None of them had gotten a wink of sleep since the day of the Watanagashi. Chief, let the youngest of us take a nap, then switch them out. We've got a long stretch ahead of us, after all. Let's not push ourselves too hard. Rest up so we can take it easy as we go. The pizza, Nyan. Pizza, yes. Organs, no. Enjoy your pizza. I've been telling them to sleep in shifts. Nobody actually seems willing to sleep, though. Could you tell them yourself, Oishi-san? Alright. Slams on the door. Everyone go the fuck to sleep! Oh my. You don't need to force yourselves. Komiyama-kun. Please, let everyone sleep in shifts, starting with the youngest. Komiyama-san, please do that. After the chief told him as well, Komiyama-san left his seat. Haha, my seat now! So, Chief, still no good on our request? It's just a rumor among the villagers in the first place, you know? It's going to be difficult without more concrete evidence. Also, Yasu, you still gotta tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 how that pizza is. Even when that evidence might be tucked away in there. We need evidence that evidence is tucked away in there. Chief, don't start speaking in riddles to me now. It's not riddles, it's logic. Unfortunate. We have witnesses that say 4 people, including the 2 who died. Damn, that's a high rating. Nice. Went into the let me start that sentence over. We have witnesses that say 4 people, including the 2 who died, went into the forbidden ritual storehouse. Pardon? Without permission. This is all reliable information. You might call it information, but they're really only rumors. They're not concrete evidence. It's a bunch of he said, she said. You said, she said, they said. Well, it's true that we don't have any pictures of the 4 of them sneaking in with cloth tied around their heads. Anyway, those 4 saw something inside the storehouse. Something important enough that they'd be erased. Important enough that they'd be erased? What would that be exactly? That's why I'm asking for a warrant to go looking for it in the first place! Anything pointing out the Sonozaki family's connections to violent organizations would be a major contender. Like a pile of Tokarevs or secret poppy production facility. The secret Sonozaki family fortune would also be pretty difficult to discard. Look, Oishi-san, I know how you feel. I'ma let you finish. Sorry for the old meme. However, that storehouse is a sacred building belonging to the Furude Shrine, and we need to have proper consideration for the locals when dealing with it. I heard that there was an hour-long call made from Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down? Anyway, as long as we don't have suitable evidence, we don't get a search warrant for the storehouse. That goes for the Sonozaki main house, too. Especially considering that's the jurisdiction of both Section 4 and the Prefectural's Police Crime Prevention Division. We need careful preparations first. If you say you need preparations, then why don't you just let me talk with them directly? Shige-chan is the head of Section 4, right? For crime prevention, it's Sankai-san. They seem like they'd be quicker to talk if I sat them down at a mahjong table. Chief, you have a visitor. Yikes. Pushing the employee who guided him in right out of the way was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member, given his crested kimono and hakama. Did he not get enough of this over the phone? I was gonna say, you said Yakuza looking. It's Sonozaki, ain't it? I'm Congressman Sonozaki. I demand to know who's responsible for this. This instant. Hello, I am the division chief, Takasugi. I don't need your name. I could have you demoted on a whim. You wouldn't even be enough. Bring out the one called Oishi or whatever. He deserves punishment for requesting a search warrant on the sacred Furude Shrine. I sincerely apologize. Oishi is currently out on investigation, and he's been difficult to contact. I'll take his place and hear you out. So, please, have a seat. The chief's eyes were telling me to GTFO. Perhaps I'll gratefully accept this favor. And maybe I'll go lay down in the nap room. Listen here, the Furude Shrine spent 2,600 years under the Imperial calendar and 2,500 more beyond that. You are going Karen mode, my dude. Jeez. It is sacred, a sanctuary that must never be defiled. The 800,000 gods, Oyashiro-sama, and the spirits of our ancestors are enshrined there. The holy shrine protects Hinamizawa from when the sun comes up to when it sets, and from when the moon rises to when it falls. Who was the idiot who wanted to set foot in there? A certain lady known as Takano. Besides, the right to religion is the most revered right of the people of this country in the Constitution. You dare be so bold as to sully that, using your own investigation's negligence as pretext? I cannot, I will not allow it. Are you listening, you lying scum? I'm angry now, so you're not getting off the hook that easily. You weren't angry before? I don't think anybody's getting a nap if he's here. And do you want me to write that note with 3 exclamation marks? Make it 4! Oh, God. But also, maybe we want to go in there because we want to know why someone else went in there. Like, I understand. I want to be as respectful as possible, but shit's going down, bruh. Also, it makes it sound like you're hiding something. This gotta be more than just religion. Anyway, let me go ahead with all that being said. Go ahead, save the file. It is 3 in the morning. And chapter 10. That means if this has the same number of chapters as last time, that's my secret cap. I'm always angry. I say now I'm angry. I mean, I've hit the next level of angry. But, yeah, if this follows the if this follows how chapter 1 went, then that means this is also going to have 12 parts in it. So that means we got 2 more to go. I will double check my work schedule to make sure that this gets the time it needs. I do not want to have to go through the finale, if I have to get up early. So I'm going to make sure, or if, like, after work, that would suck. So, next stream I do this, it's going to be the finale of chapter 2. And then we get to move on to chapter 3. Yay! Making progress. But yeah, we're getting there, and now it looks like Shion or Mion, one of them. I'm not fully convinced that Mion being like the heir. I'm not convinced that she's the only one in danger. Like, and we also got to find out what happened with Nana, and we got to figure out maybe Shion, because again, Shion, all of them. All 3 of them gals could be potentially in danger. So we'll have to see. Yeah. Shion, Mion, the long-lost triplet, Meteon. That one's my favorite.